I mean, guys, I really don't know what else you were expecting out of this film, especially if it's based off of a depressing Broadway musical in the same vein as a Rent or a Next to Normal. I mean, depressing characters, depressing storylines will certainly get there, my friends. I seriously don't know what else you would have been expecting. Everybody, my name is Zack, and as you know, I love discussing cinema and all things entertainment, and I really do appreciate you guys clicking on the video. I really sincerely hope you enjoy your stay, because yeah, we're talking about Dear Evan Hansen. This is of course based off of the beloved Broadway musical of the same name, which won Ben Platt a Tony Award back in 2016, and this film adaptation is brought to you by director Chbosky, who also gave you the excellent Perks of Being a Wallflower, a great coming-of-age film, and it once again stars Ben Platt reprising arguably the role that made him famous, along with the likes of Kaitlyn, Dever, Julianne Moore, and Amy Adams. So basically, Evan Hansen in this movie is an anxious, isolated high school student who's aching for understanding and belonging amid the chaos and cruelty of the social media age. And he soon embarks on a journey of self-discovery when a letter he wrote for a writing exercise to himself falls into the hands of a grieving couple whose son tragically took his own life. So guys, here's the thing about this movie, and this is coming from someone who's never seen the Broadway show live, but this is coming from someone who would listen to some of this music on loop. Sincerely me, anybody? By themselves, these songs by Benj Pasek and Justin Paul really do not get enough respect. Out of context, I really dig this music for Dear Evan Hansen. I would argue that this is one of the better soundtracks to hit the stage within the past decade. So it's no surprise to anybody that I actually think the music was the strongest point of this film. And I would say Chbosky directed some of these musical numbers pretty well. I was very pleased with how Sincerely Me turned out. That number is for sure the most fun I had watching the movie, and You Will Be Found is for sure to leave you guys in tears. I really enjoyed how that was presented. But God, guys, this movie just makes you feel icky inside when you really put most of these songs into context. Now, before I get too ahead of myself, I gotta discuss these performances in Dear Evan Hansen, because altogether, I really do think this cast brings it. And seeing as how this is the person who originated the role, I actually thought it was a pretty cool choice to have Ben Platt come in to do it again. And he certainly has the mannerisms of Evan Hansen down to a T. This is a nervous wreck. But as you might have expected, the elephant in the room is upon us. And yes, Ben Platt is way too fucking old for this movie now. Now, I realize that there are actors in coming-of-age films who might have been older during the shoot of those films, even older than Ben Platt was during the shoot for this one. Perfect example is Alan Ruck as Cameron during Ferris Bueller's Day Off. He was 30 years old when he did that part. But see, here's the big difference, and this is where the casting of extras plays a huge part in this. When you go back and watch Ferris Bueller's Day Off, the people surrounding Alan Ruck and Matthew Broderick, for example, they look like that they can pass for high schoolers. Everybody definitely felt like they could pass for the same age in that context. Ben Platt, on the other hand, definitely sticks out like a sore thumb. And not even 5 minutes into the film, that opening number waving through a window, yeah, you can tell that he's at least wearing 5 layers of foundation to de-age him. His singing voice is good, but I guarantee you it was better 5 years ago. You know, when he could actually pass as a high schooler. Yeah, go listen to that original Broadway cast recording. It is just baffling how big of a difference it makes. But with all that being said, I really do feel like all of the supporting cast in this film does a fantastic job really elevating the material. Case in point, Kaitlyn Dever as Zoe Murphy. You've heard the consensus from loads of other creators probably by this point, and it's absolutely true. Dever is the shining star of the bunch. She steals the entire film. And I actually do agree with my buddy Zack Pope when I say this, but if Zoe were the main character, would have been a totally different film. It would have been a lot better of a movie, too. You know, to the point where you could feel more emotionally connected. And Amy Adams does some really nice work in this movie as Cynthia, Connor's mother. It was really nice to see her in a musical again. Julianne Moore as Heidi really surprised me. I don't think she's getting nearly enough praise for her work in this. She was incredible as Evan Hansen's mother. Her song not only sounded great, but I would argue that this is maybe the most emotionally grounded part of the whole film. At the point where she starts singing, there were people sitting behind me in this theater who were bursting into tears, and it was well warranted, guys. She was phenomenal. Also great in this movie was Amandla Stenberg, who plays the character of Alana Beck, and she's got a more prominent role in the film than she does in the stage version. She does get a brand new song called The Anonymous Ones, which I think she handles very nicely. I have absolutely no complaints about this cast, really, aside from its leading character. But you know what, guys? Some plays, and some musicals for that matter, are just better handled on stage than they are on screen. Dear Evan Hansen is for sure a better stage show. I can tell you that much because this movie has got some issues. Now, first things first, and even though Chbosky is a more than capable director, I feel like there were times where he was a bit overwhelmed by the heftiness of this material. Because a lot of these shots and a lot of this editing feels very repetitive and dull. Two of these musical numbers take place in a dining room, another one takes place around a kitchen island, and it's like, okay, can we get some variation in here, please? If you want a drinking rule to add to your list while you watch Dear Evan Hansen, take one shot for every panning shot down a high school hallway. Trust me, guys, you will be hammered by the halfway point. And guys, I really hate to say it, but every single criticism about this film's story is 100% on the button. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let me just reiterate that the unlikable hero is not an uncommon trope in musical theater. I'm sure I can think of at least a few examples where the characters are just deplorable. And I'm trying to tread as lightly as I can with this because I know there's a lot of my friends who are watching this video who are die-hard fans of Dear Evan Hansen. Like I said, I love the music, don't get me wrong, but unfortunately this film really exposed the weakest parts of Evan Hansen's story from the stage show. And it really exposed this character's biggest weakness because he is a humongous liar. No joke, Evan Hansen is perhaps the biggest liar you will ever come across in your life. You know that liar revealed cliche that you hate seeing in all those movies you saw growing up? Yeah, this movie takes that cliche to the most extreme measures possible. There are certain points of this lie where Evan is descending deeper into it, which are played for laughs, and it just doesn't feel right. It's the worst kind of dramatic irony you can possibly think of. Mild spoiler, but Evan Hansen at least admitting that he doesn't deserve our forgiveness? I'm sitting there like, good! I don't want to forgive you! I mean, he's manipulating this family who just lost their son tragically and suddenly, and he's convincing them that he was your best friend when you didn't know a thing about him? All the while hooking up with this dead kid's sister? Like, screw you, dude. I will admit, though, the ending is a very charming one, to the movie's credit. And to my understanding, it's a little bit different from what the stage version does. And I did crack a smile around that point, but it was too little too late. This is a coming-of-age film where the main character just digs himself a deeper hole that he cannot climb out of to save his life. He'd probably just wind up with a big cast on his forearm if he tried. All that being said, I'm gonna give Dear Evan Hansen a C-. The word problematic is a perfect description for this film. This is absolutely salvaged by some strong performances, especially from Kaitlyn Dever, who steals the whole show, along with a pretty incredible soundtrack from the team of Pasek and Paul, who really can do no wrong. But this story is up to no end, and it really leaves you unsatisfied, not really wanting this lead character to succeed. Again, if you're to watch this story, I feel like it would play out a lot better on stage, because the film really did expose its weaknesses to its fullest extent. But I'm actually curious, what is your guys' favorite experience going to see a Broadway musical? Feel free to make some noise down in the comments and tell me all about it. I love musical theater as well. I'm a huge sucker for it. I do it myself. And I'm also curious, what is your guys' favorite Broadway musical of all time? Let's go ahead and have a killer discussion down in the comments section below. As you guys know, I love discussing all things cinema, all things theater, all things entertainment. So if you guys want to keep up to date on these topics with me, then do consider hitting that big red subscribe button down below as hard as you possibly can. We are on the road to 1,000 subscribers here on the channel, which is bonkers to me. I am so grateful for you guys' support. And subscribing would be really beneficial to the channel. It really helps get this content out there. It'd be really beneficial to you. You keep up to date with all of my future uploads. It's also totally free to you guys. And if you guys enjoyed this video, please be sure to leave a thumbs up on your way out. That would be tremendous. And please stay tuned for more exciting content hitting this channel very soon. I've got a couple of reviews lined up this weekend for Venom: Let There Be Carnage. Along with that Sopranos movie, The Many Saints of Newark, even though I've, admittedly never seen a Sopranos episode. Should be interesting. And of course, this Wednesday, September 29th, I will be wrapping up my Daniel Craig James Bond playlist in the build up to No Time to Die by looking at Spectre. And this Friday, October 1st, we are going to be starting my Halloween playlist for 2021. I've gotten so many amazing requests, and I've put together a list of a dozen movies to talk about with you guys. And first on the list is probably the oldest on this countdown. To commemorate its 90th anniversary, we're going to be looking at Frankenstein, starring Boris Karloff. So stay tuned for all that exciting content and much, much more. You guys are the best. And with all that being said, back talk, commence!